A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus entered the temple area and proceeded to drive out those who were selling things, saying to them, "It is written, 'My house shall be a house of prayer,' but you have made it a tent of thieves." And every day he was teaching in the temple area. The chief priests, the scribes, and the leaders of the people, meanwhile, were seeking to put him to death, but they could find no way to accomplish their purpose, because all the people were hanging on his words. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. To understand well this Gospel and other accounts of the same event which the other evangelists tell more explicitly or with more details than this one, it is necessary to understand what he meant, the presence of the merchants in the temple. In the first place, the temple of Jerusalem was the most sacred for the Jewish. The Ark of the Covenant was guarded there. There was, they believed, and there was a presence of the Lord, not in the same way that we lived in the presence of the Lord in the Eucharist. But the temple was also a structure of all kinds, economic, juridical, and this economic structure was maintained because every Jew, most of the Jews were already living outside Israel, what was called the diaspora. Every Jew, or whatever the practitioner of his religion wanted it. Naturally, he had the obligation to pay a tax every year to the temple. The country was in the hands of the Romans, who collected their taxes, but the Jewish had to pay a tax to the temple, wherever they lived, and also to the temple. The great annual pilgrimage were made. It is not equivalent to what happens, for example, in Mecca with the Muslims, but yes, thousands come. It is said that in the year 70, when the destruction of the Jerusalem took place, it happened during this great pilgrimage, and there were 1 million people in Jerusalem. It was an event, and it happened several times a year. But above all, the time of Passover was an extraordinary event, with a lot of people coming to Jerusalem. It was an event, and also it happened several times a year. But above all, the Easter time was an extraordinary event with all kinds of implications. Also the economic implication, where all those people stayed, how they were fed well. When the pilgrimage went, they brought their home carriers, because they came from so many places, not only from the emperor, also from the Persian world, enemy of Rome. They needed to change to the temple currency, and there was the money changers. They received the money of whatever currency it was, and they gave it to the temple currents. That was the money chargers. But they also offered sacrifice. That was the way, according to them, to please God.